Have you ever been talking to someone on a dating app and they refuse to do a video call with you or to get on the phone with you? Maybe they want to go straight to meeting up with you in person, or maybe they don't even want that. Maybe they just want to keep texting with you. Today, I'm talking with Preeti, who is a conscious dating coach, and we are diving deep into this subject. What's really going on when someone doesn't want to video chat or get on the phone with you when you're talking to them? What do you do when someone doesn't want to call, doesn't want to video chat before a date? I know you have some experience with that. I think, was it you or was it someone that you know?
No, it was so it's not it's actually an acquaintance of mine and me. So we were actually talking about this because we had a similar experience, different point in time. But in the past, it was really interesting because it's like, you're trying to, as it is, it's sometimes difficult for people to navigate dating apps, right? And to
Oh yeah.
find someone that you feel like you want to connect with. Then you have to start the conversation on the dating apps, right? And then at some point it has to come off dating app, and then you want to ideally meet in person. But like I think also with especially like post-COVID times, I feel like a lot of people like this new thing of like, FaceTiming and Zoom calling on dates and just talking on the phone more, because I think when people couldn't go out and about as much, that was the way they decided to connect. So I think that's become more prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what do you like? I have come across uh, actually one person in particular that stands out, where it was like they were willing to meet in person, but it's like this whole idea of having a phone call or a video call or video chat before was like not in the cards.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, I'm not sure what exactly that would mean per se, like what's going on in this person's head.
Yeah.
But like, it's there, and we kind of touched on this a little bit before, but I feel like if I had to like put myself in their shoes, I can guess as to where this could be coming from. And it's like maybe there's a part, it could be like you was talking about, we could talk about emotional unavailability in a second, but
Yeah.
it's also kind of like the intentions behind why they want to meet you.
Yeah.
Sometimes like sometimes I feel like if the goal is to genuinely connect, there should really be no harm in a whether it's a video chat or however, to just see how you guys at least vibe before meeting in person, you know?
Yeah.
But then like maybe there's some other intentions. Maybe if someone wants to just have a hookup kind of a thing, which is why in person might be more important to them than trying to actually get to know you. I can see why meeting in person might be for some people more comforting than talking on the phone, only is because I think when you're in person, like you're probably like having like a coffee date, or maybe you're eating something. So like you're talking and then you like there's a pause, you sip your coffee, you look around the room maybe just to look at the ambiance, or maybe you're eating or you're just taking a minute or two, like a minute to swallow. So like the silence, the gaps of silence that come in are kind of like normal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when you're on the phone maybe and you can't see, this doesn't apply for video chat, but when you're on the phone you can't see the person, and then all of a sudden there's an awkward pause. You don't know like what to do because you can't see them. So for
Yeah.
some people, like having that, they might had some circumstances where there's a lot of awkward pauses on the phone, and it just didn't go well and probably killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's in someone's experience and like that's where it's coming from. But video chatting is like you're still seeing the person. So unless it's like some kind of major intrusion to your privacy for some reason, someone just doesn't want to be seen in their home.
No, I'm with you on that. I mean, the thing I agree with you that if somebody is really insisting on not doing a video call or even a phone call, it probably means that they're only interested more in a physical relationship. Unless they really, yeah, unless they're really uncomfortable with a phone call. But I would say, like, if you're someone who's that uncomfortable with getting on the phone with someone, yeah, I don't know how emotionally available you would be. I would say you might not be in the best place to be in a relationship. And I hate to put it like that, but I mean, good, healthy relationships do require you to be able to open yourself up to something like a phone call, like to be a little bit vulnerable in that way. And I would say if you're really struggling to do that, you might need to do some work to feel comfortable
Yeah.
with getting on the
Well,
phone.
And
Yeah.
I think like I mean that one was so it's such a premature like it didn't go anywhere. We never actually met up. But like for anyone else probably who may be going through this or have encountered something like this, like I think the telltale signs is like of emotional unavailability is like if you were to actually meet up and then meet up a few times afterwards because you can't always see it so early on, but like the topic of the conversation, how much you're willing to open up to you versus how superficial the conversation is staying. Like, are your whole 2 days talking about like your day at work and the weather and
Yeah.
things that don't go beyond you? And how do they respond to questions, deeper questions when you do ask them? It's something to look out for.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because so many people are looking for healthy relationships and they want someone who's emotionally available. Well, then yes, that would require you to be talking more about your emotions and not like you have to share everything all the time, but yeah, more than just like, what do you do? How was your day? Yeah, you do want to be able to go deeper. And I think something I remember you telling me you had a friend who was trying to do long distance and the person didn't want to do video chatting or a phone call, and I
Yeah,
was thinking I don't know
yeah.
how do
And
you
she
make
she
that
she
work?
told me she specifically felt that um she specifically felt that the excuse of like long distance and was sorry that the long distance was an excuse for like not wanting to actually come on the phone like it's always like oh this is too far like she's like that's the end all excuse but she's like they're not open to coming on the video, they're not open to chatting, and she's like she doesn't know if there's something more than that or is it just like this overall oh they're not within like a 2 mile radius of me, why bother.
Mm, okay. Yeah, because what was the actual distance for this person? Did you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't actually remember because the conversation went into something else afterwards. But it seemed like she was talking about long distance to some extent. So I don't know if it's
Okay.
another state or I'm not sure how long is long.
Gosh, because yeah, I don't see how you do long distance without phone calls or video calls. It's essentially
Yeah,
like you wouldn't have a relationship. It would just be like a text relationship. Because
exactly.
that's I when I first started dating my partner, I was long distance with him. And we started out just messaging because I met him on the internet and we eventually had to take it to phone calls and video calls and then we met in person, but I can't imagine building a relationship without that. Unless somebody
Yeah, because
just
if
wanted
you're long
someone to
distance and
talk
you
to.
can't see each other, yeah, if you're long distance and you can't see each other physically, what do you have except for these phone calls, video calls, chats where you can actually see each other face to face if it's not convenient to actually meet up in person? And if you don't have that, then what do you have? You can't actually build from there, right? I think sometimes like like people want to be open to long distance and then when it actually comes to it and they realize what it's going to take,
Yeah.
they're probably just like, nah, like so it's like good to be clear with yourself in terms of like realistically, would you be up for something like this before you even like start going down that lane? Because it takes effort. Like any relationship to start,
Yeah.
especially the very beginning stages, like when you're just meeting someone, whether it's off an app or wherever you're meeting them from, those first few dates before it starts turning, it takes a lot of effort from the two of you to like stranger to stranger to get to know each other more.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, what you would have if you weren't doing phone calls and video chats is you would have a fantasy relationship. And it makes me think of I've been binge watching this YouTube channel about love scams, and basically these scammers go on dating apps and they're only messaging with people. Like occasionally they'll be able to do a voice call and the voice will sound really weird and like there'll be an accent of somewhere where they shouldn't have an accent from, and like it just it's all very weird, but mostly it's just happening through texting. And so like the person who's getting scammed, they have this fantasy relationship, and so
I'm
yeah.
just curious, do these people, because some of these apps do have links to like a Facebook profile or their Instagram, are these people having some kind of like a link to something that I can verify that they're not just some robot or some Joe Smo that came on?
Yeah, from what I see, typically there will be like a Facebook profile attached to it. There'll be an Instagram account, but it's basically people just stealing other people's photos and creating like a fake Instagram, a fake Facebook. So that's what they're doing. They're sending pictures, but they don't get on a video call. like I said, if there is a phone call, it'll be very short and brief, and sometimes the voice will be off. Really, what they're doing is they're like manipulating a voice or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's a fantasy relationship, and the person falls so deep so quick because it's just these texts about like how much they love them, but they don't know this person. So like, not that everyone's going to get scammed here, but it's very easy to create this fantasy and to develop feelings for this person without actually knowing them. For more dating advice and tips, you can follow us on Instagram at The Real Love Alchemist for myself and bestselfforward.pm for Preeti. Speaking of dating, if you want to know more about why focusing on attachment styles could actually be blocking you from real love, then check out this video here.